So again, the writer of this article, Sean Powell, NBA.com, had Giannis, had Kevin Durant, had Joel Embiid, who I'm just a massive fan of, Bradley Beal, and Jaylen Brown. Um, and then I think my sentiments, it's just so tough because,
Hmm.
like, I can't pick Kyrie Irving. There's just no way he's missed too much of this season. That's impossible. Same thing with James Harden. I especially guys switching teams, that's just weird to me in terms of switching conferences. And I think just the way his stats went down when he left, I don't think that's deserving of being an all-star. Like, I understand being like not, you know, liking where you're at or at a particular, job, whatever. That makes sense. That's relatable, but this is like a reward. So it's like, it's one thing to be like entitled to have that decision. It's another to be like rewarded for it. That's just two different things.
Hmm.
So I don't necessarily think he's a starter in that sense. There's other guys putting up killer stats in terms of Ben Adebayo and Zach LaVine. We were talking about him earlier. Trey Young, I think he has exceeded expectations. This is what we'll get in when we're hopping in the starters. You'll listen to the interview with Adam Taylor talking about Jaylen Brown and how it's very interesting how Jason Tatum was the people were saying like he was going to be the front runner and the MVP candidate of this team, but it seems Jaylen Brown's taking control of it. So I find that rather interesting. In terms of my starters, they don't vary too much, to be honest. I feel you with the Wizards thing. They get one person in there. That's Bradley Beal. Everybody else can go kick rocks.
I agree.
I think Kevin Durant's been spectacular this season. I don't think it's a bummer that, at least in my opinion, not enough has been made as his comeback. Like that's like miraculous. And I think him
Mm.
and Breonna Stewart, it tells you I guess the advancement of modern medicine that this would be such a brutal injury, and your career would be over. Look at Kobe, right? Like that
Hmm.
finished him, and Kobe. No one's a harder working than Kobe Bryant, and he wasn't the same. So I think it's pretty cool just to see Durant, despite how I feel about him really not only being like he was, but being the leader of a stacked Brooklyn Nets team.
Hmm.
So, I'm happy with this starting five lineup. I think it echoes my sentiments. I don't honestly looking at this. I know and we'll talk about this more in the reserves without hopping too much into it. Like Ben Simmons, not really. Kyrie Irving, maybe. Gordon Hayward, maybe. I like Julius Randle. He's had a nice season.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have Sabonis of the Pacers. So yeah, I think where the reserves is going to get a little bit difficult, but it seems like you had a harder time with the East. I want to hear your starters if it varies from mine and the NBA.com list.
Yeah, it does just slightly. I think I can make sense out of this,
Okay.
but we'll try. Uh, so KD, absolutely, 100%. He's a starter. 37-5 are his
Exactly.
averages right now.
Yeah.
I mean, incredible. Um, Giannis, MVP last year, multiple time MVP. 27, 11, and 5 are his averages, and the Bucks are still doing very well. You see some of the same trends that we talked about in the West, where most of the teams kind of close to 500. There's a worse bottom on the East still, though, compared to the West.
Agreed. Yeah.
Um, Jaylen Brown makes my starting team to give a nod to the Celtics for one thing, but also for having to carry a little bit more of the load while Jason Tatum was out for a little over 2 weeks there. Um, and Embiid, who is the front runner for the MVP award this year, Joel Embiid, and the Sixers being the top team in the East right now. I think nobody's going to argue Joel Embiid being the starting center on this
Yeah.
All-Star team. Where I kind of differ from the list is that I did, and it pains me to do so, full disclosure, I am a Houston Rockets fan, but I did put James Harden in. His numbers,
Okay.
even with slacking, dragging weight at the end there with the Rockets. He was 24, 6, and 11. Honestly, had Kyrie just played during that time that he took a sabbatical, I would be happy to slot him in James Harden's place, but Kyrie didn't play.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I mean, is it ideal? Is it rewarding bad behavior? No, it's not ideal. Yes, it's rewarding bad behavior, but he's still putting up incredible
Yes.
numbers on the Nets. So I have to give him that. And I think it also reflects the Nets. I mean, all three of those guys are going to be all stars, and that's what the Nets are. That's what the top of the East looks like it's going to be for the next couple of years. I mean, they are the narrative in the league. I think that will help drive fan vote in spite of James Harden's behavior. But, you know, I also, feelings aside, I have to give it to James Harden. I mean, he's one of the most efficient offensive players we've ever seen in the history of the sport.
Hey, thanks for checking out Hoopsology. If you had any thoughts on the topic we just discussed, we'd love to hear them in the comments section below. If you liked the video, please consider liking and sharing the video. It really helps us out. We appreciate it, and we will see you guys for the next video.